The highest classification of first degree is first class. So I wish to share how I made mine in physics despite not choosing to study physics in the first place. Just like how every other student, I was also part of those that put into consideration the career opportunities of courses before going to the higher institution to study them. So I was intending to study medical laboratory science in the first place. Unfortunately for me, I was not qualified, which is not what I was expecting in the first place. So I decided to make another research. This time around, I decided to consider my interest in the civilization, which is technology. So I decided to study physics and major in electronics. I purchased supplementary form, then gained admission into the higher institution to study physics. So in order to make this concise and help into you, I asked my contact and the group I'm in a question. I am making a video of how I made first class in physics. So what is that one question you would ask me if I'm to sit before you? And these are the questions I got from some persons. So let's start from the first one, judging by the timestamp that says, how did you pass the courses that are confusing and hard to read? This is a critical question, and I will list out some of the things I did that enable me to study these hard and confusing questions, like you say, past questions, tutorials, YouTube videos, pattern and step. So for the past questions, now your lecturers are scholars, so definitely they have banks of questions. So it is your responsibility to go through or gather the bank of questions they have, or gather the questions, the past questions they must have given or administered to the previous students of that department or that course. Gather at least 4 section past questions so that you can study how these questions are being said, the pattern, questions that are being repeated, and the questions that are being set in the exam. In the situation where the school is a new one, it means most likely you may be the pioneer student, and in that case I would advise that you should go to the internet to search for banks of questions regarding that course title or regarding that course. So let's say you have a course called thermal physics. Now in my case, I will just search thermal physics questions and attach PDF at the back. This will enable the internet to fetch me all the PDFs, all the bank of questions that are in PDFs. Now studying these things will enable me to prepare, to enable me to understand some of the confusing questions that are possible to come during the exam. The next thing I do is tutorial. I attended tutorial, and I also tutor others on what I lacked to see the one that I'm able to remember. The next thing is YouTube videos. Now if past questions do not help, I also made use of YouTube videos to understand the concept behind the topic, and there are a lot of YouTube videos that had simplify these questions or this topic in simple terms. The next that I did was studying the pattern and the step behind that topic. So in order for you to scale through a confusing or a difficult question or a difficult topic or a difficult course, it is your responsibility to study the pattern and the step if you really want to pass the course. So if that answers your question, let's go to the next one. The next one says, here's my question: how did you manage working on projects and simultaneously preparing for final year exam as well as many projects? And tell us how well you relate with the lecturers, having no issues with any till you left. Okay, this is a tough one. These questions are in layers, meaning there are questions in the question. So like how I was able to merge working on projects and simultaneously preparing for final year exam is one, as well as many projects is one. Okay, for this one, it is quite clear that most of my activities are within the premise of the course I am studying. So for you, if you're into business, then I would suggest that at your final year or in your final year, then you should build a system that will enable you to work on project and as well focus or prepare for exam. That is for that part. And for the second part of the question, which says how well did I relate with the lecturers, that having no issues with anything I left. Now your lecturers are scholars, and scholars are usually attracted to intellect. And what I mean by intellect, it's someone that has an ability of critical thinking, analytical thinking, open-mindedness, and curious for knowledge, and also love for learning. Now, if you have this characteristic, then naturally you get attracted to your scholars or your lecturers. And how do you get attracted? Definitely you are not expected to go and meet them and tell them that I am an intellect. It doesn't work that way. So what actually happens is through your work, through the solutions you provide to the problems that is being administered in the class, they get to know the kind of person you are and how you handle problems. Also, starting early is very, very crucial if you're to merge your final year project with your final year exam, because your exams are towards the end of the semester. Project title are being given first semester, I think, for my school. I don't know for other school though. So if you want to be able to merge them successfully without any difficulty or any unnecessary headache, then you're expected to start working on the project early, so that before the end of the semester, you must have gotten to a great extent of delivering or concluding the project, which means at most before the end of the second semester, where you will be defending the project and also preparing for the exam, you're already rounding up and having no problem or no issues with the work. So another person asked another question, which is funny though, or which is part of what we are addressing now. Oga, how did you get first class in physics with electronics? In this case, I would say the first thing I did was defining my direction and destination. I made decision first year after my first semester result that I want to graduate with first class. So the next thing is, how will I get there? Those are the things I was planning out. Then I was applying series of try and error to find the one that works out for me, and also implementing what is called a compounding effect. So the compounding effect is try to become better every semester, and becoming better means I need to make an improvement on my results every semester. So by the end of the complete 4 years, the compounding result became a first class the way I had it. To effectively apply compounding effect, you need to review your past and make a good judgment on the future, which means check each of your semester even before the semester began. Check the semester, see how well you perform in them, then try as much as possible to improve on the next one. So the next question reads, what steps did you take? How did you do it? How did you develop yourself? Okay, these are more than one question, but since it is sent as a message, then I will just take it as one question per se. Now, for the steps I took, if I'm to give it a name, I will call it determination. And for the second one, how did I do it? I literally say that in the third answer that I made for the third question. So the next one, how did you develop yourself? Okay, I developed myself attending tutorials, teaching or tutoring others on what I learned, and also making correction on the things I'm unable to teach. Now, the first thing in order for you to do as a student is you need to be teachable. You need to be open to knowledge. So I was opportune to learn from others and also teach others as well. And at the same time, those ones I'm unable to teach to others, I try as much as possible to make correction on them. Okay, another question also reads, how did you scale through, sir? As a physics electronics student, what were the challenges you saw and how did you overcome? Okay, this is actually another question that is sent as one, but from what I analyzed, there are about two of them there. So the first is, how did I scale through? Now, what I did or what I was doing then was just trying an error to find what worked best for me. Now, what I mean by that is that you need to know which time were you able to study effectively, and you need to also know things like the time of the day when you're able to study effectively, morning or night, which of them works best for you. So you need to implement, try them, and see the one that works best for you. And the next one, which is, what were the challenges as a physics electronics student, what were the challenges and how I was able to overcome. For my challenges, there are a lot of challenges, and I would say thanks to my parents for the financial support, and also to my lecturers, especially Professor F.B. Sigalo and Dr. Nicholas Tassi. It is clear that some of the practical knowledge that I need or require to actually graduate as an electronics major is not being given or is not being taught in the school. So during the time when we are opportune to go for IT, which is mostly referred to as the CWES, the Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme, so I decided to learn robotics and embedded system, which is very, very critical to understand electronics, to know how to automate electronics. So with my parents supporting and with Professor F.B. Sigalo taking me across the nooks and crannies of Port Harcourt is a great thing, and Dr. Nicholas giving me weekly stipends to support us to sustain myself. I believe those were how I was able to overcome those challenges that I encounter, and it was quite difficult to find an IT place. So if you have support, then I believe you should be able to also overcome, and if you don't, look for a leverage that will also give you an opportunity to overcome those challenges. So if that answers your question, I will move to the next one. All right, this question reads, which would you go for, first class or $100 million, sir? I think I would just assume you're trying to get my opinion, and if I'm to answer you honestly, I would go for the $100 million and not the first class, because with the $100 million, 100 serious students can attend a well-sophisticated higher institution, and at the same time with the possibility of making a first class, which means $100 million can produce 100 first class. But having a first class does not guarantee that you make $100 million, and even if it does, it will take you at least 20 to 40 years to achieve that. So if this addresses your concern or your question, then I will move to the next one. So the last question reads, how were you able to plan your time by adding extra things to your studies? Okay, for this one, I think it is crystal clear that we have 24 hours in a day, which comprises of the morning, the noon, the afternoon, the evening, and the night. So what I always do is that I create a timetable spreading my study routine within the evening and the night. So for the morning section, morning, noon, and some part of the afternoon, I mainly use for attending lectures. Then when I'm back, other things that I need to do in the day or other activities that I added to my daily routine or to my daily lifestyle are being done in the afternoon. So supposing I'm a business owner or a studentpreneur, which means you do business while being a student, then I would suggest that during the afternoon you sort out all the customer need or whatever thing that has to do with your business. And in order for you to even become a successful studentpreneur, then I would recommend that you build a system behind the business to enable you to accommodate your lifestyle without unnecessary headache. Also, I also do what is called a priority check. If you have a scale of 100%, in order to pass any course as an A or in order to make a first class, then it means most of your courses are on A grades, and for you to achieve A grades, then it means you need maximum of 70 marks to qualify for that. So 70 marks represent 70%, which means your priority should be more of your study, because at the meantime, those are the things that is keeping you going. So the 30% there should be what you'll be shuffling or substituting among what you're adding and what you're removing. So if you want to add other things to your task, then you should confirm if it can accommodate or if it can be substituted within the 30%. If your answer is yes, then you should go ahead. If your answer is no, then I will recommend or I will advise that you should kill that intention. You have to set your priority right. So if this video is helpful, you like, comment your thought and subscribe to the channel. Thank you and see you again.